All right. We are live. It's Monday night. I'm sitting here with George Lambert and Chris. What's your last name, Watson?
Yeah.
And I'm Brett Vaughn. So, I don't know. Let's see if we get anybody in here. Is it live, Chris? Did you check it?
It's showing on my phone. It is. I'm trying to. It hasn't popped up. Let me see. Leonard Land.
Yeah, it says we're live. I hope I didn't make it unlisted. Did I
Yeah,
make
I
it
got it.
unlisted? Huh?
Yeah, it says you're live right now.
It's not unlisted then?
I just went to your live. Let me look. Let me just go to my YouTube and see if it pops up on the. Oh yeah, it's under my subscriptions. It's right up top. Says live.
Okay, cool. There's two people
Hey,
in here.
we did something right.
Yeah, it worked. Not bad. Not bad for a bunch of hillbillies, huh?
Maybe we can ask
there we
people
go.
listening what a good title is.
HMHNM. Yep, you're live, bud. Oh, here, I can do this. I can put them up there. Yep, you're live, bud. And Ohio Hillbilly Woodworking. Greetings from Central Ohio. Cool. Well, we're live. Well, I think it was Thursday, I put up the first Dale Lee CD of, like, I think there's 20 of them, and it's an hour long. And have you guys listened to them, or have you listened to them?
Oh yeah, it's the second time I listened to it.
Yeah, I would say for me, this is probably the third, fourth time I went ahead and listened to it again. But
did you really?
I listened to it multiple times.
Well, cool. Any great insights from it?
You know I feel like I can't remember to feed my dogs the next day. And this guy is, what, 78? When did he do those? He was 70s, right?
He was an old man. I don't know when he recorded them.
79, I believe. But he was in his 70s, and he remembers it, and he tells the stories like it was yesterday. That's what I like. Detail.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Detail.
Remembers their names. Hey, Nick. Hound on the Run is joining us. Nicholas.
No.
He's out there on the left coast, so I'm going to put him to the left of everybody. There he is.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good. Nick, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
I put you on the left, and I lost. No, I got everybody here.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself there for a minute. You look tired. Did you have to work hard today?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Nothing too crazy, but it's always busy on Mondays.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. I got some news. I made a deal, the final deal, shook hands, and I sold my business today.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So
that's good.
I'm a full-time podcaster now.
YouTuber,
podcaster.
So he has no excuse. Brett has no excuse no more.
And my wife has a good job, so it means I'm just a kept man.
That's good.
So I also went and had an echocardiogram today, so I just barely got back in time to get this thing going. So
how'd that go?
That's always crazy to watch your own heartbeat.
Or listen to it. What bothered me was listening to it.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of those old-fashioned washing machines.
And you have it's a habit to watch the guy's face or girl's face who's doing it to see if there's any disgruntled look or worry, like, because they won't tell you nothing. They don't want to, and they're not allowed to.
It's when they're doing that thing and they're going like that, and the girl goes, and you think, uh-oh. What did you see? I told her, I said,
do the lemon fix or something.
I told her, I said, hey, call my wife in here and let her look so she knows I have a heart. So she can see it. Here we go. We got, I was telling Heck yeah, great for you, Brett. Woodworker, good deal, Mr. YouTuber. Cool. Hey, did you get to listen to much of the Dale Lee tapes, Nicholas?
Not the ones you posted on YouTube, but I listened to them
In the past.
I've listened to them before.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to do it this weekend, but
He didn't run many Bobcats, so you're not that interested in him, really.
no, pretty
No.
much.
I'm like Chris said, I was really amazed at how he remembered the hunters' names that came down and hunted with him. I mean,
Right.
the old guy's memory had to be something else. And and then the memories of the hunts. It's just where they started the jaguars at, and the dogs that were there, and how they started them. That was all pretty cool. That's always interesting to me.
Right in the very beginning, he says, "Yeah, we had a canoe, and we had 7 dogs and 4 people. Like, he knows how many strokes they use the oars to get up the river. Like, the guy just
Yeah.
to have somebody remember at that age and be so detailed about a story is great."
And then, talking about the Iowa farmers and the one that was carrying a little more weight, and then the other one was old. He was 65 years old.
Yeah.
And about how when he went to shoot the jaguar, he was shaking real bad, and he said his knees were shaking. He said he wanted Charlie. Speaking of that, Charlie Settles is a guy I went and interviewed, and he asked Charlie. He said, "Shoot it for him." And the guy said, "No, I can shoot my own jaguar." And he shot, and all he did was break the jaguar's jaw. He didn't even want to shoot him in the head because he wanted to save the skull, and he shot him in the jaw. And then I guess the thing jumped out, and somehow later on Charlie ended up shooting it, and he said the guy didn't even realize that somebody else had shot it and killed it. Said he went over there and his knees were shaking and everything.
I think he kind of put his finger up to his mouth and told the other guy to kind of shut up about it.
Yeah, don't say nothing.
I wonder, did he remember them hunts because they stood out to him, or you reckon he remembered all of his hunts like that?
I don't know.
He has 20 CDs of nothing but story after story.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've listened to them all, but it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's, you figure most people forget more than they remember. And if he forgot more than he remembered, God almighty, the stories he forgot. So I don't, maybe these were just exciting ones.
Well, think about it. That's what he did. I mean, that's all he did. He hunted. He was married one time, and I forget the story right now. Somebody told me the story about it, him and his wife, but he wasn't married very long because he always just took off and went hunting. I mean, you think about it. He was in South America and Mexico, and then he was all over the States and
well, even when he was back, they were all doing it, which I guess this kind of goes back to my theory. I always say that.
Oh, we got some weird noise going on here.
What is it?
I don't know. Can you?
It might be my dogs fighting in the background. Wrestling, I should say.
It almost sounds like a radio.
Wrestling.
Oh, unless someone's watching.
And it's coming and going. Do you guys hear that?
I hear it.
Say something, Jonathan, because I think it's coming out of Jonathan.
Hold on a minute. Let me just hit the mute, and then you can tell from that after I hit the mute.
No, it sounds good there.
Somebody's dog just barked.
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, it's coming from Jonathan's.
Almost like an echo.
Oh, look at Jonathan turned into a little dog. It's like that one. Have you seen that one with that guy? They're having that Zoom meeting. I think we talked about it before. And the guy, and he had a filter on where he looked like a cat. And I mean, these are like some lawyers. And
because his kids got on there and he couldn't get it off.
And he said, "I don't know what to do." He said, "But I am not a cat."
I've seen that one. It's got some kind of filter on it. Can you still hear it now?
No, sound good now.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that's that little chihuahua that makes all the noise every time we're shut up. Every time we're on. So
I don't know, woodworking, aka Blue Dog. Oh, okay. I know him.
but I think she'll behave
So
tonight because my wife's on vacation.
there's that question again, Brett, from Alec Carlin. Remember, I was asking you, I had a guy call me and ask you about what breeds Mr. Lee preferred or
Okay,
what his dog line.
I got a really good story about some of that. You know, the Lee brothers were known for the blue ticks. I mean, they had their own line of some kind of registered blue ticks. And I hunted with an old man. His name was J.R. Williams. And the Lees talk about a dog, I can't remember his name, but he was a blue tick. And they found him on the highway out by Hatch, New Mexico. And I hunted with JR, and of course, you know, I not that I did not believe him, but I thought it was kind of a far-fetched story. And JR told me, he said, you know about that blue dog that started the Lee brothers line, that blue tick. He said that was my dog. And I said, how do you know? And he said, well, they found him out by Hatch. He said, and I lost my dog out by Hatch. And I thought, well, that's kind of a, you know, it's possible. And then when I went to JR's funeral when he passed away, they were talking about they buried JR out in Hatch. And I thought that was a strange thing because he had lived in Las Cruces, and then he had also lived in Silver City out by White Signal, place, a real good place to hunt lions. And I remember us talking to somebody, and I said something about him burying him here in Hatch. And they said, well, it was kind of in between, and said he spent most of his younger life down here in the river hunting raccoons. Jeez, I forgot again. I'll cut that out.
Oh, yeah.
That's just terrible.
Gotta say raccoons, guys.
Yeah, they'll limited things. Yeah. But anyway, my camera changed. Whoa. So I believe that. But I also believe that the Lee brothers used whatever worked, whatever they could get and whatever worked. I mean, in this first CD, they had a Cocker Spaniel, a part Cocker Spaniel that was a junk dog that would only bark on a hot track. And
they talked about a big white and black spotted dog, like,
yeah,
right.
You know,
he talked about.
I just think that whatever works for
too.
What's that, John?
He talked about a cur dog too.
Yeah, yeah.
Or was that Cocker Spaniel?
It might have been. I can't remember right now. But yeah, I think so.
I know that's what the old timers used to call a cur, was just a mix, you know, just a mutt, and you know, then the cur got to be a registered breed.
But I bet down in those swamps running jaguars, they probably went through quite a few dogs. I bet that was rough.
Yeah. You know, and he talks about having hot weather dogs.
A what?
Yeah, we have some hot weather dogs.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What are the hot weather dogs? I'd love to know what his hot weather dogs are.
Let me see. I would think that a lighter coated dog with that would, you know, withstand the heat. I mean, I know I've got a lot of hounds out there. My white light colored dogs. I got one dog that's a black saddleback, and he doesn't withstand the heat near as good as those other dogs do. He'll overheat. Pilot. Blackbeard Kennel says Pilot. There you go. That's the name of the dog right there. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but JR swore that was his dog. I have no way to prove it, but, you know, JR didn't make, and JR was an old man when I was hunting with him. And when I was hunting with him, it was probably been 12 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. And he was already in his 80s. And he didn't act like it's a big deal. He just told me that story one time. And JR got killed, got on a young horse that threw him and hurt him, and they rushed him to the hospital. They had a helicopter come out and get him. He was in the middle of nowhere up there. And helicopter come and got him, and he passed away in the hospital. But he's a neat old man. If you ever watch I got a video on my Born 100 Years Too Late YouTube channel. Me and him catching 2 bears in one day, and then running the third one and pulling the dogs. And big old bears, nice bears. And I got to hunt with him that time. Alec Carlin. Yes, sir. So anyway, what do you got to say, Nicholas? You're awfully quiet tonight. You look like you got a lot on your mind.
I got a lot of noisy dogs right now, so I just had to go install some bark collars to get them to be
I
quiet.
don't hear them.
So
You guys hear them?
I can't hear him.
I can't either.
can't hear them.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I got some
got
of my young dogs are just beating each other up.
I always said that, if you're going to have hounds, that you either had to have them right next to you, right out your window, or have them 20 acres away.
Yep.
Because they wouldn't. I mean, you got to be close enough to them where you can holler at them, throw a rock at them, make them quiet, or so far away you can't hear them at all.
Mhm. Yeah, speaking of blue dogs, all my blue dogs, they seem to be a little barkier around the house than the walkers. I don't know if that's maybe that's just my dogs, but the blue ones seem to talk a lot of crap, from what I've found.
You're going to start a lot of trouble between the dog guys.
I know a lot of guys that say right the opposite. They say that a walker's more mouthy.
Yeah.
That a walker will run its
I don't know.
mouth more. So I don't know.
I don't know. Now,
I think it depends on the individual dog.
yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
My half running walker that I got, Jack, he's loud. I mean, but he's not. He's loud when I go out there, and it's almost like he's just doing it to get my attention. And then when I holler at him, I'll say, "Jack, shut up." Then it's almost like he laughs at me and he shuts up. And I've got another dog that I got from Breck Bean down in Texas there, and he goes back to Henry McIntyre's old Newt dog, which was a real famous lion hound. And that dog just drives me crazy. And it's not so much that he barks a lot. He barks a lot, but he's got that real high pitched, just yip that just drives me crazy. And
I got a black and tan that does that.
So I've never had bark collars. I never have had, but I'm thinking I'm gonna buy one just for him.
They're pretty handy. They're not perfect, but
yeah, I even had a sponsor send me a deal, say that they would send me free bark collars, and I just had to do a review on them. But I don't like to do reviews on things. So.
But you're so good at them.
Have I done one? Have you ever seen one I did?
I guess you didn't really do a review. You talked about
this tripod is the best tripod in the world. I bought this and blah blah. You could go on and on. These guys, and most of it's just I don't know. I don't believe a lot of it. They're talking about how good it is because they got it free. Now, I say that I have a mule pad or a saddle pad that I've used. I probably told you guys about it before. A friend of mine gave it to me. It's called Skit. It's a Skiddo, Skito, Skiddo pad, and he came down hunting with me and he gave me that pad. And it's got a real coarse. It's padded real well underneath. It's got what do you call it? Panels in it, and it
Right.
really and then it arches across or it suspends across the backbone, but the top of it has a real coarse layer on it. And if you're riding up and down mountains, you know that your saddle goes back and forth and it'll work your pads out. You'll have to stop and readjust. Not with this pad. And I sent them an email, and I just sent them an email, said, man, I love your pads. I said, this is, I wore this one smooth out. It's wore out. And I told him, I said, I sure want to order another one. And I said, and I have this YouTube channel. I said, and I make these videos. So, you know, if you could give me a discount or something, I'll sure mention your pad in my videos, because I really do like it. They sent me a free one. It came in the mail. So that I really appreciate stuff like that. And it's something that, it's not something that you get an email about saying, hey, try this. It was the real deal. You know, I really like it. So,
I do have one thing to share with everybody. I don't know if you talked about it yet, but Mr. Chris Watson here of Anecdote of a Houndsman was on the Hound on the Run podcast that I published yesterday. So go check it out. We talked about dog boxes, and Chris had a lot of really good tips for like getting dog box building materials for free or really cheap. Yeah, it was fun to talk with him. I'm going to be building myself a new dog box here soon, and yeah, gave me a lot of good ideas. So thanks for coming on, Chris.
I told him to come over here and hunt, and then we'll build them one.
there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I listened to part of it. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing. I listened to part of it. But hey, I hope and I didn't get to the part where you talked about the chain, but I hope you did talk about the chain.
We did.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, sure did.
And
Yep.
That's kind of like that Skiddo pad. That's a super good idea. That's a super good deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about John?
He called me my signature on a dog box.
I forget about the chat here. How about John? What'd you cook this week?
I put my chili on there that I made the other day. I put it on. I don't know. It's not that good a video, but I put it up there. So I've got plans. I got to make plans to cook something else this week, and I've not made up my mind quite yet what I'm going to do. So.
What was that? We talked about that before too. What's that old Cajun that used to be having a cooking show on TV? I guarantee.
Stale Cracker?
Huh?
The Stale Cracker guy?
No, he was.
There's an old guy from years ago. I
guarantee he would say. I can't even cook, and I used to listen and watch him just because he was entertaining.
I can't remember what his name was either, but I've watched him a lot when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Well, we got 15 people that are participating in our live. Guys, ask us some questions.
Now, what about didn't Dale divorce his wife because she stepped on a hound puppy and broke an axe handle?
No,
you heard that one?
That wasn't Dale. That was Hulse. He was married to Mr. Mars, the saddle maker's daughter. And then they divorced right away. Asked him how come he got rid of her. How come they divorced? He said, "Oh, she stepped on a hound puppy and killed it and broke my axe handle, so I had to get rid of her." But yeah.
I know listening to Dale tell his stories and stuff, it's so hard to get in the mindset that he was hunting before any kind of tracking equipment.
Can you imagine how tough those guys were?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I can't imagine going down there and hunting them jaguars in the jungle like that. I mean, go down there in the jungle and hunt them jaguars and call them in with a gourd to get them closer.
They pull that string through that gourd. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's pretty cool. Some guy was supposed to send me one of those that he had made, and I never got it.
He said it was made out of horsehair. Is that what he said the string was made out of?
Yeah, I think so. And then they waxed it or whatever.
Horsehair with beeswax.
Yeah, and I've seen one before. When I went up and seen that guy in Idaho, he had one, and that he hunted with Dale Lee, and I don't know. Nicholas and John wasn't here when I told the story, but I'll give a brief, not the whole story, but a brief recap. The guy in Dale Lee's CD, this number one, he talks about Charlie Settles. He's from Tennessee. I went down and interviewed Charlie Settles probably 10, 11 years ago, something like that. I drove all the way down to Tennessee and sat with him in his house and listened and recorded all his stories. And then I went to Tucson and I recorded another guy, Dennis Carson, and I believe that he is the young man that Dale talks about that came from Tucson, just a kid, because Dennis was pretty young when he went over there. And I went to Tucson and I interviewed him. And then, and I can't remember this guy's name for the life of me. He's an older man and he hunted down there with Dale and he lived up in Idaho. And I went up there and sat down and interviewed him also. And I've never shared any of those interviews because there's kind of a big story that goes with it. And I've just been waiting for the right time to do it. But I'll probably publish it on this channel. And then I've also got the interview from Hootie Shaw in Oklahoma. You'll like that, Nicholas. He's a big time bobcat hunter. And
yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, he was interesting to talk to, and real knowledgeable guy, really knowledgeable. But
it would be neat for somebody to hunt down one of Dale's clients, if there's any alive.
Yes, there was. I had a guy contact me, and he was supposed to get back in touch with me, and I lost contact with him. And he was from, how come I want to say Arkansas or something, and he was a big businessman. And he had hunted with Dale Lee quite a bit, but I don't think he went to Mexico. I think he hunted with Dale Lee over on the Blue. South Carolina online now. Missed the opening. You can go back and rewatch it because we're going to leave it up on this channel. DW Hunter. What does DW stand for? Here you go. Here's a question. What do you guys think about multi-use hounds?
I got a few of them.
Like multi-species?
I'm afraid I do too.
They hunt a little bit of stuff that I don't even want them to hunt sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, you hear those guys. I know a few guys that just hunt lions. And I know a few guys that just hunt bears, and they don't have a problem. But even the guys that have, they'll hunt both. I think as long as you're kind of consistent, and I don't think it's no different than a search and rescue dog. I think once you get them on what you want them, and you let them know it's what you want, I think they'll go. But I think the only problem is sometimes is when you're running a day or 2 day old lion track, or and you jump a hot bear came across.
Exactly.
I think you might have a little bit of problems, but
yeah, to get those dogs to really grind in cold trail on an old lion track.
My opinion is you should probably have 1 or 2 dogs that only do lion and 1 or 2 dogs that only do bear. That way that's your lead dog, and if he's running, you know what he's running.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think a lot of it depends on the actual dog itself also. I think some dogs probably have the brains to be multi-use, and then some of dogs are just so gamey. I have a couple that if I let them run other stuff, then yeah, I think it would cause problems, I believe.
Orville Fletcher called out a crackerjack dog because I asked him. I said, about running bears and lions with the same hounds? And he said, if you have a crackerjack dog, he said, that would be good. He said, but a lot of times it's hard for them to go back and forth. I know a lot of guys who run bears and then they switch to lions later on in the year. Those dogs have a hard time slowing down and working a track. They want to, and then I know I used to do that when I ran bears. I'd get 5 or 6 hounds. Hello, Nicholas. You get 5 or 6.
He's waving.
You get 5 or 6 hounds, and one barks on the track, and the other one's trying to, they run up the canyon. Maybe one barks off track or something, and pretty soon they're balling going up the canyon. Nobody even has anything. It's just like it gets real confusing. I think, and that's because a lot of those bear tracks were just balling, running. Well, no one knows better than you, George.
Right. There's some guys around here that will they'll use hounds to I almost slipped up, to raccoon hunt. Yeah, they'll I don't let mine do both, but there's some people do that, and they because of the raccoon, you're gonna have to do that again, Brett.
When you just
Because of the
corrected
raccoon
yourself.
being
Just beep it out. Just beep it out.
I will.
exactly
I won't publish it. I'll take it down and I'll go through it and I'll beep those spots out and then
exactly
re-upload it.
because of it being pretty much a nocturnal animal, they don't have as many problems, but they still. I've been hunting with them, and they still slip up and tree one every once in a while
Raccoon
when
every
we're
now.
trying to bear.
Yeah.
If you get out on early morning, you don't know which one you're going to get on. So for me personally, I keep mine for single use, other than Scruffy, my little mountain feist. No, he can tree whatever.
If I don't care for running bears out here, but if I could catch if I could catch some of these foxes out here, I wouldn't mind them running a fox. The problem is we mess around with them so long we never get to the lion track because you have to cover a lot of country to get to a lion track. But if they run a fox, I mean, I've had some fun running foxes before. And I got a guy that sent me a message from California, said, "Why you need to start running those foxes at night." And I don't think it's legal to do that here. I don't think you can run foxes at night. Maybe you could run them as long as you didn't kill them, but if you could actually catch them out here, I imagine about 2 out of every 5 you'd catch on the ground.
Right.
Yeah. I think it depends on your area. Like me, I hunt down south all winter, and there's no bear down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Right.
I go up north, and I hunt a couple areas that there's not a whole lot of lion, but anybody comes up and hunts with me, I tell them to get both tags because I'm not going to cry about it when they trash a lion. We treat it.
Right.
I just cold trailing a lion is just like, I just love to sit there with those dogs and watch them work. It's something about it. I don't know. David asks, what state is everybody from? Starting with John.
Virginia.
George?
Yep. Virginia also.
Nicholas? You're quiet.
I think we lost your mic.
I was muted. Sorry. I'm in Oregon.
Oregon.
The beautiful, rainy Oregon.
And Chris?
Arizona.
And I'm in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in southern New Mexico. There you go. Any more questions? Scruffy. There's a question about Scruffy. I need a Scruffy. I wish I had a Scruffy just to go with me everywhere. I'd have him right here with me right now.
That's why I keep turning around to check on him now, but he's snoozing right here behind me.
Elizabeth has one
Let's see
left.
We might mess this all up, but let's see. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
There
So are you guys looking at me?
So what kind of dog is he?
He's a mountain feist.
Okay.
Technically, I've never messed with these papers or anything, but he's actually registered and all that stuff.
Tree dog deluxe, isn't he?
Let's see, what part of Virginia? Okay, I'm really close to Harrisonburg. Well, I'll say I'm in Howland County, Virginia.
John?
And I'm on the border of Washington County and Smith County. So most people will know where I'm from because of Bristol. Everybody's heard of Bristol, Virginia, Bristol, Tennessee, where the racetrack's at. I can beat the racetrack in 45 minutes. So. I live in a little town called Chilhowie.
Okay.
If you go down 81 to Tennessee, you can't miss it.
Well, how far is Dover, Tennessee from you guys?
I'd have to look and see.
Huh? Because that's where I went to see.
It would be a lot closer to me than it would to George.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do this.
John,
I'm
what
gonna
is
try
that?
it.
3 hours from you? John is gone.
You may be a little bit further than that from me. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we just
I
can't see you.
Yeah, give me
Hey, I'm
just a
gonna
minute here.
disappear for a second because my mule got out at my house 200 miles away, so I got to go make a call.
Uh-oh.
She's running the neighborhood. I'll be back.
All right.
I know that feeling.
Oh, I know. If you're going to have livestock, they're going to get out sometimes.
I'm 6
3
hours
of
and
my
21
dogs
minutes
got out.
from Dover.
Oh, what's that?
I'm 6 hours and 21 minutes from Dover.
Wow, that's still a long ways. Not as
Yeah, that's
far as
pretty
I
good.
was from Dover. That was a long drive from southern New Mexico.
I'm gonna
I
say
bet.
for you, it was probably what, about 15 hours.
Something like that. I can't remember where I spent the night the first night. I think I probably just slept on the side. I probably found a tree somewhere and just slept on the side of the road. And I know on coming back home, I got a motel room. But
I know for me to come out there in October, it's like 21 hours
wow.
drive time.
And
So
you're gonna be hunting with Bency.
yeah,
How much time are you gonna be spending here?
I'm supposed to have a week out there, but I guess
7 days, 8 days?
yeah, I'm supposed to have 7 days. I'm supposed to be out there Tuesday through Sunday to hunt. So uh, I can't wait to get out there.
Oh yeah. What time? What, in October?
Yeah, October 17th to the 22nd. Does that sound right?
So it's gonna be a dry ground hunt.
Yeah,
Cool. If
it's
anybody
gonna
can
be
do
dry
it,
ground hunt.
Bency can do it.
He seems to. He seems to think we'll have good luck.
Oh yeah,
So
he catches a lot of lions. And
he talks about 85 or 90% chance of catching one that week.
yeah, he knows that kind. You're going over there by Capitan, over in that country, aren't you, Ruidoso?
Yeah, yeah.
That he
Going
knows
over
that
next to Capitan.
he's taken a lot of lions out of there. He's been real successful in that area.
That area just interests me anyway. He tried to. Well, he didn't try to, but he offered. We can come later in the year when it snows. And I'm like, well, you done talked about being in New Mexico out there where Billy the Kid was at. Now I want to go ride the trails around that area.
There you
That's
go.
just to me that's worth the price of the hunt. So
Here we go. Alec, I'm from Elkins, West Virginia originally, and still hunt with a group around Snowshoe. I know Highland County well.
Oh yeah. I get over that way also every once in a while. I have a lot of family over in West Virginia.
It depends on the country. Well, and how in the conditions at the time. I didn't make a video of it, but I watched a jumped race with my old females, and they're not as fast. I told this story before, but me and my grandson went out, and I took the hounds. There's a little rock pile. And it's like the moon out there. There's no vegetation, nothing. It's just rough country, and they mined it. They mine these rocks out of there, and there's rocks as big as pickup trucks, and we went out there, and I knew from time to time, because it's not too far from the river, that lions go through there, and so I took the hounds out there, and we trailed, and we started trailing here and there and everywhere, and we couldn't work it out, and I had my grandson with me, and he wanted to call coyotes. And we had a little Fox Pro coyote call there, and we set that call up and let it go for about 15 minutes, and it was really kind of comical because we still had the call going, and I told my grandson, I said, well, we haven't shot our guns in a long time. I said, let's pick out a rock on the other side of this little canyon and see if we can hit it. He said, all right, and we were trying to figure out which rock. I was saying, how about that flat rock right there? He said, yeah, that one. And then he looks at it, he calls me T-Taw. He doesn't call me Grandpa, he calls me T-Taw. T-Taw. He said, there's a lion over there. And we looked, and I'll be danged if there was a lion that had come over the hill to that call. And we sat there and watched, and he said, "Should I shoot it?" I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. Let's run back to the buggy." We was in my UTV, and I had all the dogs in the dog box back there. I said, "Let's go get those dogs." So and it took us quite a while to get over there and then get the dogs on the other. We had to go around to get back over to where that canyon was to get the dogs on that lion. And that lion had gone off and over the edge, and the dogs started trailing, cold trailing. I mean, they're just cold trailing, even that fresh of a track. They're not just balling and running. They're moving it at, probably if you were walking. I mean, walk, just a steady walk. And so they're wah, 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 moving it. And they go down. And I got one dog. I really like her, Iris. She's pretty quiet on track. And you could watch her. She got way out there in front of those dogs. And pretty soon I heard, wah, 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 wah. And there they go. Well, that lion went right through that big old boulder pile. I mean, and we circled around, got up on top. And Iris come through that boulder pile, and then here come the other dogs, and it held the dogs up. What in the world is that?
George.
Hang on, it's my.
It's aliens, the aliens. And anyway, it took us a while to get the dogs through there, and then they hit over there, and that lion had balled up it just stopped. A lot of times lions will do that, and then they'll just stop. And he'd stopped, I guess. I didn't see him. I say he, it was a she. And down at the bottom below a boulder, I guess. And the dogs finally trailed around. They got her jumped again. Well, we were right up there on top of the mountain. We could watch the whole thing. And that lion took off, and I mean, that lion ran like a greyhound. It went up the canyon. Those dogs were, bah, bah, and then she turned and went up to another set of bluffs. And she could just bound through those bluffs. Well, those dogs had a hard time getting through those bluffs. And then the lion came out, circled right around the next canyon. I call them canyons, but they were arroyos. Came down that arroyo, and we seen her coming. And then the dogs finally worked their way through there, and they came down. And they talk about a lion being able to turn off their scent. And I know they say that it's crazy, but we actually watched it happen. I mean, it was just so obvious. And I don't think it's the way they don't turn off their scent. They change what they're doing. So that lion was about, I don't know, 300-400 yards ahead of the dogs, maybe further than that. She got in a little 2-track road, and we sat there and watched her get in that 2-track road, and she squatted down like that, and she lifted her head up, and she looked back to see those dogs coming. And when she left that 2-track road, she was just moving like that. And she moved right back to where they started her from. She moved right back, walked right over her own tracks, walked up her tracks, and we didn't see this. We figured it out later. Walked up her tracks, walked back down her tracks, and then cut out across the flats. Well, when those dogs got to that 2-track road, they're cold trailing again. I mean, they were running 9-0 trying to catch that lion down the canyon and everything. When she was running, they were running. But when she got in that 2-track road and she slowed down, they slowed down to like a cold trail. And then when they got where she walked back and forth over her tracks, they were confused. They didn't know where to go. They were back and forth. And we went around. Finally, we let them work for a long time. Couldn't figure it out. Loaded them up, and we drove. You had to go way around to come back into the arroyo that was on the other side of all these little rock hills. And we went back down there, and I found her track where she'd walked right out the arroyo through just wash sand, and then up over through the Greasewood Flat. Just walked out. So now I did catch a lion. I caught a lion 2 days in a row back down here in some old rough mountains. And now on the overnight track, they moved it probably, I could keep up with them, just barely. I say barely, but just with my mule kind of, she's walking, but walking fast. I'm pedaling her pretty fast, making her step out. And then the first day was cold trail until they jumped him, and then I lost track of them. I didn't use my GPS. I could hear them, but I couldn't stay with them in the rough country. They put him in a cave, and the next day we put him in a bluff. But we trailed 18 out. What I figured was an 18 or 20-hour-old track right from that cave, and they trailed out of that, and it was slow going. I mean, I just sat up, but I knew, a lot of times you get in that country, or at least me, and sometimes I have my doubts whether they're really cold trailing a lion or not. I'll kind of second guess them because I just don't catch enough lions to really say, oh, that lion won't, or that dog won't bark on nothing but a lion track. But I knew this time for sure it was. And they trailed up and over and around and just slow. And I just sat up on the side of the mountain and watched them for, hours. And then they got up a little further and they hit the overnight track. I figured that's where that lion had bedded down. And that same little female dog that's quiet, after we trailed out over the other side, she's the one who got that lion jumped. So anyway.
What time of year was that?
That was about 3 months ago.
Okay.
So it was hot. It got so hot. I mean, it got real hot. I got sick. I mean, I got literally sick because it got so hot. And I got down at the trailer and I laid down. I didn't even go home until it was after dark. I felt terrible. I got sunstroke. My old red head don't handle that sun very good.
Pale skin.
And then I was still having trouble, and I was having some trouble with my heart at that time. I just wasn't telling anybody about it. That AFib, it's an electrical problem. It goes bananas sometimes. So it's not. They told me don't worry about it. Don't quit being a sissy. But anyway, that's my stories. That's it. I think I tell, be like those old men that tell stories to each other for years and years, and they quit doing anything. They just look at each other instead of telling the whole story. They just say, "This is story number one." That's all they have to say because they keep repeating it. Yeah, thanks for sharing your experience. And there you go. Thank you all for sharing your experiences and knowledge. You're welcome. I hope it's worth something.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is I have been thinking of getting a Western dog, big game dog, back to Ohio. They have bred the nose or tracking out of these dogs. Maybe they did that because they don't need it. I don't know. I mean, when I first started, there was two schools of thought. Is they would say, okay, get you a fast walking mule or horse that covers the country and have you little hotter nosed dogs and just cover lots of miles and try to get on hot tracks. Or get some of these old cold nosed dogs and just poke around and cold trail until you can figure out trail them until you figure out where they're going. And that's happened to be what I got. And I like it. I mean, I like to watch dogs cold trail.
I think there's still plenty of cold-nosed dogs back east, don't you, George? I mean, there's a lot of dogs back this way that I know of.
I think it is.
Not a lot, but there's dogs out there.
Yeah, I think locally, me talking to the locals, I think they have worse problem finding cold-nosed trailing dogs in raccoon hunting. Versus bear hunting around here. We don't have to have cold-nosed dogs, but I know a lot of us locals, we still like to have a good cold-nosed dog.
I'm going to say something, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I don't think you guys really know what a cold-nosed dog is. I've seen Virginia. I mean, you got fairly good conditions, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. We got vegetation here, so
yeah.
You talk about a track here that. Talk about dogs with their heads up running. Once they get a decent track here, there's, a good dog will run with its head up. It won't have its nose down on the ground. But I'm just thinking about one dog I know in general. I'm just thinking about one dog I know in general around here. He's a Walker dog, and he is. I mean, my opinion is he's as cold a nosed dog as you will get in this area, and maybe sometimes too cold.
Yeah, too cold. Exactly.
I've seen him in late December. Last week of December, first year I hunted with him, and this story's just one that's on my mind with him. I seen him work a track for 2 hours, just making a little old circle where a bear had fed. And I said, "The heck far? How long ago did that bear feed like that?" Because that's a long time for a dog to cold nose, ain't it? Around here, George. Just bawl and just work where that bear had fed.
And what I will also say is that and I shouldn't do that because I have puppies for sale. I shouldn't say it, but I also think that if you have good dogs that are gamey dogs and they want to catch something, if they're raised in this country, I think they're going to probably develop a lot better nose than they normally would have because they're going to want to
They're
use
gonna,
it.
we're gonna have to learn to use it.
Yes.
Like we
Now,
were talking about the bear and lion dogs. When I pull my dogs off bears, it takes me a month to get them to just stop, put their head down, slow down, and
start trailing.
start trailing again. But then when I get back up bear hunting, my dirty dog wants to trail a bear for 3 days. And I just
Yeah.
no, I don't want to. I don't want to run a cold bear trap.
No.
I don't want to run cold. I don't want to run cold. I don't want to chase a bear for 42 miles.
And you take one of these Western dogs that down here in this desert that, I mean, I feel like my dogs are as cold in nose as they need to be. But if you take one of these pups back there, they might not develop the nose power that we have to have here. They might just,
I don't.
just,
I personally don't think they will. Just by watching my dogs between bear and lion season, desert and forest,
yeah.
two
Well, they
different
don't,
environments.
and they don't need the nose. They don't need as much nose back there because the conditions are better. Y'all get quite a bit of moisture and rain. You got a lot of grass and foliage and stuff like that.
Well,
And
I fully
But
believe a lot of
I
that.
think the reason I think
Go ahead,
Buford,
John.
talk about him being a little cold nosed too, is seen him cross the road before. The way it is around here with you got so many roads. Put him on a hill strike from a box, and you put him down on the ground, and he'll run, and everybody will run around the corner of the road where he crosses the road, and he'll run with his head up and run across the road. And other dogs that are decent bear dogs, you drop them, and they're like, "Well,
really,
what are we doing? Yeah,
yeah,
where's it at? I don't, you know." And then they've got dogs, they've got 15 other dogs scattered out everywhere, and Buford's still running wide open, and he's not jumped it. They thought it was jumped because of the way he went across the road. Cause he go across the road screaming,
really.
"Roar, roar,"
Well,
yeah, and
and
just
I've heard, I talked to a friend of mine who catches, Bency, and we talk, about the running dog crosses, and Bency is hunted with a lot of my dogs. I mean, we kind of started out with the same kind of dogs, and he was telling me that he has some of these running dogs that they might tree the lion, a mile ahead of the pot lickers, which kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. But now I got some running dogs too, so we'll see. I'm just getting started with them, and they come out of some of the best running walker bloodlines there is. That dog of Cody King's down in South Texas, that Ricochet dog, and all that stuff, and they're good dogs. I mean, Cody catches ton of game, so I'm anxious to find out the difference. Now, I will say that with my half running dog, and I haven't been able to prove that he's the one who made the difference. I caught more lions this year than I have in the last 3 years, and but he's trashy. I mean, I gotta watch him. Sometimes he just soon run a jackrabbit as he would a lion. Where my
I fully
dogs,
believe a lot of the dogs just have to get acclimated to the country.
I think
You
so.
know, I know mine. I don't do as much traveling as I used to when I was younger, but I used to, whenever I'd go out of state to a different type of terrain, it would take 2, 3, sometimes 4 days before the dog would start consistently catching game. Or me feeling like they was putting on their full potential.
Yeah.
And it would just, I'm not exactly sure what is it in them that makes them acclimate or get used to. I'm not sure what that is exactly that they go through, but it's something.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't, I haven't tried a lot of different dogs. I haven't had a bunch of dogs from different parts of the country. I've had some dogs that were from out here that came from some pretty famous outfitters, and I got rid of them. I've had some that pretty soon they just don't want a cold trail. And if I don't keep a dog that won't cold trail. Because that's what I like to do. And I say I won't. I got Fat Lori. She cold trails every now and then.
I fully believe that a lot of it is genetics, but also a lot of it is a learned process.
Yeah, probably.
Too.
And probably you put a dog that's real gamey that came from back there where you guys are. He's real gamey. He wants to catch game. and he comes out here and you mix him in with a bunch of dogs that are cold trailing and working a track, eventually he might, try to contribute.
Repetition.
Yeah.
Well, just like anything else,
Yeah.
I think a lot of your bad dogs come from bad owners.
That's
I mean,
true.
my dogs could be 20 times better if I hunted 20 times as much as I do. But there's not a lot of,
Oh, yeah, me
even,
too.
so even to get back to Dell Lee, all them guys, they did all them biology jobs.
Well, that's the same thing. Look around at who has the best dogs now is the guys who get to hunt all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a story about one of my friends that went to there's a story about one of my friends that went to Maine bear hunting, and one of my other buddies was there and said Garmin showed the dog barking. I ain't gonna mention the dog's name or the guy's name or nothing because I don't want to make nobody mad. But the dog,
Come on, say his name.
He's barking. Good. I ain't gonna do it. And
Rabbit hole.
dog's barking, and he's like, "Well, my dog just run through down there. Why's his dog throwing a fit? He's barking 80 beats a minute. What's going on?" Well, they drive back around the road and come back down there, and there's a big pond in this person's front yard, and he's got a big bull moose bait up in that pond. But I've seen the same dog run a deer. I've seen the same dog run a deer across the road, and them holler on the radio, "Hey, he's got a deer. Shock him." Well, I'll tone him. It's like it's his baby, and it really is. It's his baby. You never would shock him. Just tone him. And the dog's learned. There's no real trouble. And I've not been with them. I've been with them when funny things has happened. But one day they were out running, and they had a bear up moving, but they jumped the deer out of the bed a long way too, and he went with the deer because it was a whole lot hotter. So. So bad owners, and I don't want to call the guy a bad owner because he takes care of his dogs and he hunts his dogs a lot. But that dog there was like a kid to him, like his kid to him, and he spoiled him.
Yeah, he's not as particular about things as most people are.
I had a real good female that I let go, and when I let my hounds go, and I kind of wish I'd have kept her because when I priced her and the girl wanted her, she had a little bit of age on her, and I said, I ain't gonna take any less than that for her because I'll just keep her and take her up here by myself when it snows and put her on the track when I find one, because she could cold trail one and start one around here. She'd start one around here, and the girl messaged me the other day. The dog's about 12, and she said she accidentally got bred. Will she be a good mom? I said she's an excellent mama. And she done had her in the house because it was hot around here, and had her in the air conditioner to keep her warm. I mean, keep her cool. But that dog was just a real good, excellent dog.
Do y'all see the question up there? Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And before I forget, talking about the trailing dogs, before I jump on that question, I have a little male dog that he will not trail. I mean, to me, he's basically a pack dog. But at the same time, I can see him, if he turns loose, goes into some really, really rough country, it can be 10, 11, 12 hours later, and he can trail himself all the way back, himself. I know he can't remember all the places he's been, but he can trail himself back. Putting him on a 2-hour-old bear track, he won't take it.
Does he open up or bark when he's trailing himself back?
He don't open up, or not that I've ever noticed.
I had a dog that when he was trailing us up, he would open up on the track, trailing us up.
Nice. Yeah, I had a red dog that used to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But it's interesting noticing that.
I was sitting there, I was watching. He got lost. He was a young dog. He got lost, and I thought, "Where's Dan? Where's Dan?" I was riding. Pretty soon, I heard whoa, and I said, "Oh shoot, Dan's over there trailing something." And I watched him. I thought that son of a gun's trailing us. He was trailing us up and opening on the track.
Is that the same dog that got the 4 feet that time that climbed out of the box and hunted y'all down? Hunted you and other dogs down. You put him in one of your videos. You put him in the box. You climbed out, and you put him in the box again, and he climbed out while you was gone after you'd left the truck.
Again.
Might have been Dan the man. Dan the man, he kind of had a. I sold Dan the man, and I don't sell dog. I usually don't sell dogs. He was an older started dog, and I sold him some guys up north, and I sold him on a trial, and they paid for on the dog hauler to haul him up there. And they called me and just said he's not working out. It's not working out. And they said, well, he'll go run deer. He won't even come with our dogs. And I thought, well, how in the world did I misread that dog so bad? You know, because he was probably a little trashy. I mean, most of my dogs are a little trashy, but he would stay on a lion track. I know he would. And and then they started they had a name for him. They called him Dildo Dan. They started making fun of him. Kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. And so I drove all the way up there. And they had him on a little old short chain between two buildings. And I drove up there and parked in their driveway and drove all night. Got up there and slipped in their driveway and picked him up next morning. I didn't say nothing to him. And I went and I caught that video I have of me. That was Dan that climbed out of the dog box that day when we caught that big old Tom.
Off an elk kill.
Yeah, he killed the elk. We trailed that lion all day the day before, went back the next day and cut his track and trailed him to that kill, and then went and caught him. Now Dan didn't make it to the tree the second day, but he did get out of the dog box, and I think there was a female lion there with him, and those other dogs went with them, and I had to go gather him up. But anyway, after being up there in Utah, he was so sore-footed that's why I left him in the dog box. He couldn't hardly walk the next, that evening. And because they didn't do anything with him. I shouldn't say anything. Those guys might even watch this. I won't say their name. I think they took him up there to breed him. I think that's what they bred a female to him or something. Anyway, because he went back to Hendricks breeding and some really good bloodlines. Anyway, so then I sent him down to Cody King. I asked Cody, I said, hey, Cody, I said, what about this dog? I said, I'd like for you to check him out, see what you think about him. And Cody took him, and Cody called me the very next day. He said, there ain't nothing wrong with this dog. He said, he goes with my dogs. He said, he helps. He said, he's probably a little colder nosed than my dogs. He said, but not much colder. And he said, he's probably not as fast as my dogs. He said, but he's not too far behind them either. So that's pretty good. But then they caught a bobcat with a bunch of javelina in there, and the javelina came in and killed Dan, and then killed another one of Cody's dogs too. So, which wasn't no big.
That man, golly.
Like I said, they fight just like those kids I used to fight when I was in junior high school. If I fought one of them, I had to fight them all.
And I was shocked. I was looking at I've been looking at hunt regulations since I'm coming out there. I was shocked that you can't kill those things. But just
they're a game species, yeah. They're protected.
I thought they would have been like a nuisance.
Javelina? You talking about javelina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot of year-long open seasons now in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's not really too many places out this way that like hog hunt or anything. And if you find a place out here that's got wild hogs, yeah, I mean, it's just hard to go in and hunt them. But you find a place out here that go somewhere else and hunt with an outfit or something, hog hunting's got outrageous. So I thought when I was out that way, I'd take my 300 and go out. If we got done early, if we got lucky enough to get done early, go out and just sit up in the desert and watch. But I didn't realize you couldn't kill those things that time of year. So
yeah. George, there you go. John.
Virginia. Okay. So I don't have a certain time of day, and basically I go by each individual day, and I go by the moisture content. And what I'm saying is if it's a really dry day, then I don't like it to get much more than 65, 70 degrees. Call it quits. But at the same time, if it's 80 degrees and then we just got a pouring thunderstorm, rain or something, and all the brush is wet, I'll turn dogs loose.
Oh, wow. Because then they can really get up on one, huh?
Yeah, because one thing I heat stroked the dog a couple years ago, and so now I'm really paranoid of the heat.
Yeah.
But that rainwater keeps the dog on the brush is like it keeps the dog cool off. So they can hunt. Yeah. But now if you just got a hot humid day, But I think, in
Yeah.
my opinion, and I'm not hunted a lot, but the guys that I've hunted with and a little bit I had, it also depends on your hounds and what kind of shape they're in. If you've had them on a chain or in a kennel all year, and you try to turn them out that first day of chase season in August, and they've not run any, and it's hot, and you jump a bear and they run it, through the middle of the day, in the hottest time of the day, you're probably gonna kill a dog or two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just like
exactly.
us. It's just like us. If we're not in shape, we can't go out and, you know, book it through the mountains in the hot weather.
Yeah.
So I mean, to sum it up, basically I have variables every day. The dog itself, the shape it's in, the actual weather that has been, the previous weather, and then the weather that's coming up. And then and basically, like, if it's, we can start hunting at 4 o'clock in the morning here legally. So, at 4 o'clock in the morning, at nighttime, I'm not too worried because that sun ain't beating down.
How long is your season, George?
So basically, I think it's the 1st of August is when which is a Tuesday this year, I believe. But whatever the case, the 1st of August till basically the end of September, we can run them 2 months, and then we can switch to West Virginia, and pretty much we got to watch our deer seasons over there, but we can hunt on through till pretty much February.
Wow. And your bears don't climb in holes in the winter? I mean, they don't hibernate?
It all depends. A lot of it, this is a little bit controversial, but I fully believe that a lot of it depends on our mass and basically how much feed we got and what pretty much our acring crop.
So if they have
plays a big role in how long the more acorns we got, typically the longer the bear will stay out.
Oh, the more you got, the longer they'll stay out.
Hey, Brett, he's talking about acorns. Sorry about that. Not acorns.
Yeah.
Acorns.
Oh, acorns, not acorns.
He knows what he's talking about. It's acorns.
I'm bilingual. Hey, there's my buddy. There's where my saying "onward and upward" came from. Is Jeff.
I was looking at the map.
Howdy.
You guys don't have.
Your dad's going to see him. He says.
Yes, that's correct.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think my dad leaves out of here in Virginia, and maybe this week. I think this week he leaves out and heads out there.
Have to slow down to go fast.
I was looking at the map, George. What I was looking at, you guys don't have the early firearm season, do you? The 3 days that you can run in October.
No, we've had it up till this year, and we lost it this year. And it's a big controversial subject, to the locals and stuff. Me personally, I rarely carry a gun anyway, so I don't care. But
because you don't care, you don't care about shooting a bear.
I've helped some guys finish some off and that kind of thing. But me personally, I've tagged I think one bear my whole life.
It's all about the hounds.
I rarely.
That's it.
Right.
What do you think helps the hound more, George? Do you think helping a hound more, or I ask all you guys, some people think shooting a game out helps them more, and some people think that, like, especially a young dog being at the tree and seeing a bear come out fires the dog up more than just shooting one out to them.
I think letting them chew on a bear is a big deal. Obviously, you're not going to get to do it every time, but you definitely have to. I think you definitely have to do it every once in a while. But that's why I take everybody else with tags, because I'm not going to burn my tag up. I'll burn everybody else's tag.
Can you?
I personally.
In Arizona,
go ahead, John.
Are you done when your tag is out? Can you not run anymore if your tag?
You have to have a tag to run bears, but I don't have to have a tag. So if I use my tag, I have to have somebody with a tag with me.
I think in Virginia you can still run. You just can't. You can't carry a firearm.
Sue them. But So once you use your tag, you can't be in the woods with your chasing bear unless you got someone with a tag. As long as there's a tag present, you're good to go.
I got to
And
come out there and let you put a red.
Benji, August is when our season opens up, Benji. But August is real Western. That's where all the dogs are. That first week is real fun because they're running around excited to get out. My dogs are already starting to bark. They already know that here in a few weeks that we're going to be out.
Go
So,
time.
and then it'll close down in September, then it opens back up in October. And as long as that quota stays open, you can hunt till the end of the year.
Here you go, Chris. Answer this question.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, sorry. I was somewhere else. I was looking at
You was
these
busy
other ones.
reading.
Any of y'all run any of those Kemp bred dogs? How about Nicholas? You're up there. Have you heard of them?
No, but I know some people who do. Yeah.
Do you? They got some running dog in them, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Running walker. Do you use running walker? Or I know I've asked you before, but
So I have one dog that is like 3/4 running walker. And then I got one that's like half. And then I got puppies out of her. So
do you run in? Is it real tall timber there where you run?
yeah, it is. I mean, it's really choked out with brush, but then also it's massive, massive tall pine trees.
So you have to have a good locate dog, don't you?
It helps, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All mine are kind of rookies at it, but they try hard.
You know, when I
don't
went
know.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, even in some of these gigantic spruce trees, like even with a great locating dog, it's still really hard to find the bobcats. So,
But you
yeah,
have a dog locating and barking on the tree, and then you just can't see him.
you just can't see them. So it's like,
Yeah.
I want to believe you, but I can't see it. So I really need to invest in a thermal, but
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot of dog food budget.
My dogs locate a lot of bear and mistletoe and big knots up in the trees.
Yeah. I got a video that going.
They see the big old black spot up there, and they're running through trailing something. And I got a couple dogs that will just keep their eyes up, and they'll see those big mistletoe clumps up there, and they'll tree on them.
Yep. One of my, I think, higher end videos are basically going by views. I don't even tree a bear. I tree a big old, what do you call them big knots? A burl? Is that what they call them? On the side of a tree?
Oh, yeah.
I've treated a few of those. I thought one was a cub one time because I was hunting with Elizabeth, and she had a running dog. And this dog was like 50 yards from the truck tree, and I think we had 30 dogs there. And one of her friends was there, and my dogs were running all over the mountain, and I heard them treed, and I walked up, and they were treed on a burl, like a big mistletoe burl. I thought it was a cub. It was so dark. And then what happened is we kept hearing her dog barking 50 yards from the truck, and that old little running dog, or her trig dog, whatever it was, had a tree bear all by herself, 50 yards from the truck, and we're all chasing dogs up on a mountain.
I'm going to leave it with you guys here for a second.
And as far as the Kemp bred dogs on my end, I've never personally had one myself, but I've got some buddies, and pretty much mixed results. Some of them are the greatest dogs ever, and then some of them haven't made it. Yeah.
I've hunted with people that have really good trail dogs, and they want me to come hunt because I got really good tree dogs, and their dogs just wouldn't tree real hard. Kind of weird to me because all my dogs usually tree, But I think when you have a good pack, you'll have a couple trailing dogs, and you'll have a couple locate dogs, and I've had trail dogs that will trail right up to the tree and sit in the tree, and my other dogs will trail or tree, and those dogs will just kind of run around sniffing for something else to trail.
Right.
So I think it depends on your
And then
cat
one,
too.
I fully, and that leads in actually kind of what John was saying earlier on my end of things. As far as do I need to kill a bear to my dogs? Some of them enjoy chewing on a bear, and I bet
Yeah,
because I don't kill meat, a lot of my dogs won't even, they're almost shy of a dead bear, which is really weird. They'll tree a bear in a heartbeat, but
yeah.
they're weirded out by a dead bear, which to me that don't make a lot of sense. But it's
I've
interesting.
seen that where you shoot it out of the tree, hits the ground, and they run up to it and like, oh nope, he's good.
You
He's better in
know,
the tree.
that dog Buford I was talking about, that my buddy's dog that's pretty cold nosed for a dog around here. Uh, I had never noticed it before, and we killed a bear one day, and I just sat down on the ground and watched the younger guys go down the hill to it. And I heard something beside of me, and I looked over, and Buford's sitting right beside of me, and I said, "Do you want to go chew on it?" And I talked to his owner. His owner's name's Roger, and he said he don't care about it. He said once you kill it, it's no fun to him anymore. He could care less. He just sat there and watched the rest of the dogs run off, and he did. He just sat down right beside of me, just like another human. He could care less about that bear laying there. And you got some dogs you throw it on top of the dog box and they bark all the way to the house because there's a bear
Yeah.
on top of the dog box. You've seen those, ain't you, George?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then I got kind of talking about the tree dog thing. I've got a really good. She's done got a little older now, but she's an English female. She's probably one of the better dogs I've ever had in my whole life. And she's treed probably hundreds of bear by herself. But I've had it happen probably 10, 15 times her whole lifetime. She'll get treed. Especially if other dogs are there, she'll get treed somewhere. You go to the tree while you're tying up the dogs. She'll slip out of there and get treed again somewhere.
Really?
It's interesting. If you've made it to the tree and you don't have your hands on her, then she'll slip out of there. And usually every time, I think every time it's happened, she's been treed within 800-900 yards or a mile. So I'm assuming there was two bear running, or I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but
But there was a
it's
bear.
interesting.
So there was a bear in the first tree?
Oh yeah, yep, 100%.
Oh, okay. So she trees
Yeah, you
one.
get-
She's like, screw
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys.
she'll
I'm going to go
treat
tree
it.
another.
She'll stay treed for. I mean, I've had her treed for 12, 15 hours. All night
Wow.
the next day. She'll stay treed. But if you get to the tree and start tying all the dogs back and all that, and if she knows, I don't know exactly how she knows that, but she'll be out of there, and you'll realize. A couple times I haven't even noticed she's gone. I'll just look at the start heading back towards the truck, realize Jenny's gone, and check the Garmin, and she's treed again somewhere.
And she's
So
English?
I don't know. Yeah, she's an English. I think if you follow her back, she goes. I'm not good on bloodlines, but she goes back to a lot of the hard time stuff.
That real good dog I had, Hoover, Super Hoover. He was out of a registered English dog, hard time bred dog.
Okay.
He was a good bear dog. I caught bears when I had him, and I thought, well, this bear hunting's not too bad. And then he died, and the bear hunting got real bad. Instead of catching bears, instead of hunting for bears, I just hunted for dogs for 3 or 4 days. I chased those bears all over the country, and never get them caught.
Right.
But Hoover, Super Hoover, he would make one climb a tree.
Yeah,
He put enough pressure on him.
I've heard some of these guys talk about a dog that one of my buddies had named Eagle, and that was a long time before I started hunting with him. And they said the Eagle was kind of the same way, George, that he would. They said they didn't have to get to the tree. If the pack got to the tree, he left, and then he would go. Yeah. And
You guys stay here. I'll go look for something else.
Yeah, well, and that's what George was talking about, that red tick of his while you were gone, Brett, that red tick would do. But said the Eagles the same way. When the pack got there, said they would show up, and of course, most time around here, if it's a legal bear, we kill it. I mean, there's a lot of bear in this area, and they're so close to houses that they're
Oh yeah.
complaining. And we've heard from the game biologist, that if y'all don't start killing them, they're gonna do something different, as far as the season's
Right.
go. And so they kill them, and they said, they get that bear took care of, get the dogs all rounded up, and somebody get the Garmin out and figure out where Eagle went, or it may have been even still when they was using beat, figure out where Eagle went, because we've got another bear in the tree probably. And they'd find him, and they said 9 out of 10 times he'd have already have a bear in the tree somewhere else.
Well, my solo dog, you could leave in the morning with him, and we'd ride a 12 or 15-mile circle, and on the way out, man, he was a broke dog. I mean, if you hit a lion track, he would, work it and trail it, but if you hit, deer, elk, or javelina, or coyote, or anything else, he'd ignore it. But on the way back to camp, you'd be riding along through there, and you'd think, where in the world did Hoover go? Or Solo, and then you could hear him way up the canyon. He'd be chasing deer or something. He just decided, we didn't find nothing. But when he figured out we were heading on the little old trail going back to camp, he would go find something to chase.
Wonder if that's because work was over and it was time to play.
I think he just thought, boss didn't find us something good lying to trail. I'm just going to go find something on my own. I don't really care. He was a good dog. He was a funny dog. I caught him. I caught him cold trailing bear tracks. I mean, cold trailing old bear tracks. That's where all these dogs got their trailing abilities from him and a dog I had named Susie. He was a cross between Susie and Old Bo. Kenny Bolt, Brett, was that one of them Bud Lights you just opened? Yeah, this is an old man's Bud Light. That's what happens when you get old. Switch from Bud Light to Bubblies.
That's funny.
No, I didn't even post it. You guys can't see it. Can you? You guys can see the chat though, can't you?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I see it when you pop it up, but that's it.
Oh, you don't see it? Just regular?
Oh, you guys are on phones. I'm on a computer, and on the right side we have comments.
Oh, okay, cool.
All my mules are back in.
Did you talk your wife into getting them caught?
No. My wife's down here. There's nobody home. My daughter was going to feed tonight, and then my neighbor texted me and said, "Hey, there's a black mule running up down the driveways." And then my daughter I call my cousin who's watering his cows, so he won't be there for an hour. And I called my son who's at work down in the mines, 2, 3, 4 hours away. So he called his ranching buddy who was on his way over. And then my daughter went in, threw him some hay, and they all ran back in. But the neighbors' horses are out too.
That's good.
So I'm wondering if the neighbors' horses came over and caused trouble. But there's nobody at the house. This is the first time she got a little vacation from the house. And I had to text my daughter and said, "Hey, all the animals, all the horses and mules are out." Yeah. There wasn't a lot of good words without the F word in it on that one.
Okay, what is the smallest size of pack?
Anybody who wants to get mules and horses and then hounds, remember that.
Exactly.
You don't get a break. This is the first day. This is the first day no one's there. So, good times.
Okay, what is the smallest size pack you guys would run on bears? Have any of you guys taken one dog out and caught a bear?
I've caught a dog with one bear.
That's hard to do.
I've caught a bear. I have caught a dog with.
That's a trick right there.
Catch dog. I've caught. I've had my Dirty and my Andy dog, both of them, just rig, and I let them off to see what's up, and they've had a bear treed. But I've treed a lot with two dogs, 2 or 3 dogs, because I don't just when I get a rig, I let one off. I let my lead off and let them. I want to know if it's a good trail, and sometimes he gets off and he's gone. So I'll let another one down and check her, and then I'll let the rest out later. But there's been times I've only let a couple dogs off and had them treed within 10 minutes. So I'm just driving over there. I drive over there and I got 2 treed. It depends on the bear.
George?
Yeah, I fully agree. Actually, I really think most of the time it is one dog that trees the bear, even when you
Mhm.
turn multiple dogs loose.
Oh, wow.
Typically, not
Yeah.
every time. A pack definitely plays a part on some bear, but here in Virginia, the way a lot of our bear are runners, they want to be run. So usually it's the fastest dog. Whatever one the
And
fastest one, he's typically the one that trees the bear, and then the others fall in there with him.
and one good dog makes all the other dogs a lot better. And and
Oh,
and, and then sometimes you don't
Garmin
realize,
tells
yeah,
the tail nowadays.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then sometimes you don't
Well,
realize who that good dog was until you lose him. And then you think,
one
man,
bad
right.
dog, one bad dog can ruin a race too. Though.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I tell you,
But
Garmin
even
Garmin ruins houndsmen. Garmin will
yeah,
ruin a houndsman quicker than anything else because you don't pay attention to your dog. If you don't have a GPS, you're definitely paying really close attention to your dog. So when you got that Garmin, it's a relief because and it's a lot safer for them dogs. So for California to pull the Garmin like they did was absolutely ridiculous, especially when it was supposed to be the animal activists.
They don't know. Yeah, they don't think it all
right.
the way through. They're just
The safest thing them dogs can have on them is that Garmin. You know, it's like
absolutely.
having a life vest. A life vest will save your life. A floating ring is like a telemetry.
It's
You
like
know,
telling everybody if they're going to have a life vest, it's just making it too
yeah.
easy for them to swim.
You
So
know,
don't.
you read that book, Trained by a Hound, and you hear him just talking about them stories where he's walked 7 miles and it's dark and he still has to get back to the truck. You know,
Jeez, I know.
and that's what
Do
I
y'all
guess
have
that's what
places?
we're talking about today is like you got the modern houndsman versus the old houndsman. And those old
Right.
houndsmen, they were tough guys. On that Dale
Different
Lee,
breed.
he talked about his buddy biting him with a rattlesnake. He thought a rattlesnake bit him,
Poked him
and
with his knife.
the first thing he thought was, I'm 2 miles from the horse and 3 miles from camp from the horse. You
Yeah,
know,
that's amazing.
so those guys. I mean, he had a brother die. One of the brothers died. Right? He got shot out there.
Got shot at a bear tree, I think, or a
By
lion
a
tree.
client.
By lion tree, yeah. The client shot him when the lion jumped or something, and the guy
You
swung to
know,
shoot it and
and
shot his brother. They had to
they
pack
didn't
him
have
out of there.
they don't have a satellite phone. They didn't have. That's like Warner Glenn. His daughter got drug across them rocks by that mule, and she
Yeah.
laid there
Yeah,
for a long
Crazy.
time, long time. And I tell you what, if I seen one of my kids do that, man, I'd be heartbroken. Just
oh,
watching
I
it, and
know.
knowing she's gonna die right there. And she got lucky. She's a tough gal, that Kelly,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was going to
tougher than I
ask, do
am.
y'all have places out there, and do y'all have places out west out there? I mean, like even Nick or Brett, you and Chris, do y'all have places out there that your Garmin don't come in good, that you can't tell where your dogs is at sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
I
these
mean,
big
but it's just
bluffs.
because of
Bluffs.
terrain.
Yeah.
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 I've
There's a
had
lot.
dogs 100 yards from me on my GPS treed, and I couldn't hear them until I had to
Oh,
walk
yeah.
up and over. Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about it not even showing up on the GPS.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
areas around here that you, I mean, sometimes you can't figure out where your dog's at. You have to walk and walk and walk and
Oh,
get
yeah.
to
Yeah. Lots of times.
a good spot to try to
I
pick
think
up
the
where your dog's at.
I think the advantage we have here is I don't know, we have more mountains to climb up on.
Well, you can get up high and usually, kind of figure out where of course, your Garmin tells you where they were last. You had signal.
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah.
kind of get close to there and try to get up in a high spot. And I don't know, like I went out this last week. I took those dogs and I just put the tracking collars on the 2-minute update because I want the
Mhm.
battery to last as long as possible,
Yeah.
just in case they do get on something and they get away from me. And I don't know that country, and it's all wilderness. It's not like you can drive around. I'm on a mule, And
You know,
you just have to have that collar working for as long as possible so you can get to your dogs.
I just wondered
that
if
you
it.
know,
I
a
mean,
lot of
I just
people.
wondered if it was like that out there because I think our problem here is. I mean, we've got mountains here. I mean, I'm right on the foot of the. I think it's supposed to be the tallest mountain on the East Coast. It's like right at 5,000 feet, and I'm right on the foot of it. But there's a lot of deep hollers and stuff in here, and if them dogs drop off in it, you know, it may take you forever to find a spot to be able to get signal again.
Well,
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
were a lot of people, I've bought a lot of them because people got rid of them. I know I've hunted with Elizabeth Bolin, and she runs both the telemetry and the Garmin, and you really should. When
I
you're
don't.
in country
There's a
like we
lot.
are, you really should. I mean,
There's a lot
those
of guys
those
up here running telemetry in Garmin.
they got 10,000 hour batteries now. You know, that's a year long. So
But the new
Yeah.
Garments have a long. You put it on 2 minute update. What do they last, Nicholas?
Oh, it's
Like
long. Yeah.
30 hours or something.
40
yeah,
hours, something
Maybe
like
Oh,
that.
longer.
no,
they
Yeah,
don't
the
they
last a
have.
month.
T15 X's are, yeah, a month or something, I believe.
They last for a long
It's
time.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Yeah.
like I went.
New ones.
I had a guy call me from South Carolina, and he said, "Hey, don't buy a 200 or 300. You got 100, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Have you updated it?" And I said, "No." He goes, "It's doing the same thing mine was doing. Just update it." So I did this weekend. I updated it, and I ordered some batteries. So I'm like in the new age now. So
Oh,
we'll see
nice.
how long it takes before it pisses me off, and I'm back with my 220 and DC 30s.
I bought the new collars and the 300i and all that stuff. I wanted the battery life just because I was double collaring my dogs with the beep beep collars too, and then I don't anymore now that these new ones. Because the battery life, they say, I forget how long. I was counting on
80.
you.
80 hours. I just
80
looked it up.
hours on the.
Yeah,
I
80
can
hours.
get just about everywhere I need to get with an 80-hour battery life. I mean, I could cover the wilderness pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about making a little. I'm thinking about making a little
One
series of videos about this, but did you guys know that you can actually track the Garmin collars like their telemetry collars?
How was that?
If you, well, I'm gonna make a video about it. But I've been playing around with it.
Don't hold
And
out on us.
so
give us a
because
teaser at least.
basically this is like a backup plan if your collars become disconnected from your handheld. You know what I mean? Like if they become unpaired for some reason, or like you accidentally master reset your alpha and it clears out all your dogs. The collars, as long as they're still powered on, they're still like, blipping out that signal. So if you can tune like a handheld radio, you can tune that to the correct frequency, and then you can use a directional antenna to direction find them, just exactly like you do with telemetry.
There you go. You heard it first right here on Interview Stories and Tales.
So
Go
yeah,
to
stay
Hound
tuned
on the Run
Hound
to
on
get
the
all the
Run. We'll be-
details.
He stole your
Yeah, I was-
thunder.
We want some field
Right.
demonstrations, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good information right there. Really good, because everybody has them
Yeah.
handheld. You're talking about the little ham radios, the Bowfangs, and the.
Yeah, you could use a Baofeng, exactly. Yep. And just they make
Yeah, but
it makes like I was playing with it. It makes like a little chick 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 sound, and that's all it is. And yeah, it's I think the collars have like 4 watts of power or something. So yeah, it gets out a pretty good ways.
I was going to
So-
answer Alan. I've done that lots of times back in the older
Oh.
days. I
Lay out
just
a coat.
lay out a coat. I had to go home anyway, and come back the next day. And I had dogs. They just get there and lay on your coat and wait for you to come pick them up.
Yeah, I'll lay out my hoodie, and then I'll lay out some food.
Yeah.
And I always have sardines or clams or oysters. I'll lay out some food. And a lot of time when I'm out hunting, I got a 5-gallon bucket on my truck or 2 or 3-gallon bucket full of dog food with. I usually put like a bunch of grease or bear grease or bacon grease in it too. So I'll leave it out there. So if I don't, I always call that legal baiting because if I don't get my dog back, I'll get a bear in at least.
There you go.
Yeah. But
Well, what about the new Garmin's and the new collars? Is there less interference on them than there were with the old collars? Because a lot of times, if you got several dogs out or had different people in there, you'd pick up interference.
I think you're always going to deal with that, huh?
Yeah, nothing changed.
Personally,
They're still
still
using all
same
the
frequency.
same frequencies and channels and everything. So, I mean, it's that the hard part is, but like FCC rules is that these GPS receivers, they have to be able to receive interference legally. So yeah, there's not much you can really do about it. So just normal radio frequency interference from like electronics, or if you have big radio stations in your area, like it's just adding to the noise that your receiver's trying to hear that signal through. So
I didn't know.
it can still get interfered with.
To weed out where you could pick up that one collar.
Go ahead, John.
I didn't know. I just wondered if they had figured out a way to weed it out to where you could hear that one collar better on it. Because I know a lot of times you'd be hunting and somebody else would show up, pull up the same spot, and they would have the same frequency on your collar, and you'd lose your dog because their dog was a whole lot closer.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
When you're running
that's how you know people are in the area, right?
Not when you're running a 220 and a 230. I don't interfere with nobody.
That's what was weird with me when I was way up in the wilderness. I'd be way back up there, and then I would get that message saying, so and so's interfering with Hoover or whoever it was. And you're out there, you're way out in the middle of nowhere, and you're on a mule, and you start looking around, thinking, well, who's close to me out here?
That's the game warden with his bowfang out there and his directional antenna trying to find you,
tracking me down. There you go,
Brett. Brett, have you got your 300 yet? Yeah. Have you played around with the channel viewer at all? So they have it's called a channel view, and it'll show you like who is on, if there's anyone else in the area on those same channels. So then you can like change your codes around if you need to.
Oh no,
if there's a bunch of people on channel 1, like you can change your codes over, spread them out on the other channels. It's kind of I'm sure it'll be helpful, but it's not much different than just getting that, interference error message.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar. It'll just give you a little more detail about what channels are getting jammed up.
No, I got it, and then I bought it for the inReach because my batteries were going dead in the other one. But then Buddy with W Hunting Supply sent me one of the little Garmin inReach things, and he said, you need to, because of the way I hunt, and he said, carry this in your pocket all the time. And because I always carried my tracker, I got a little pouch that fits on my saddle, and I carry it on it. But then, like he told me, he said, and I said, well, I can hang this on the horn. He said, no, don't hang it on the horn. He said, put it in your pocket. Because that way, if something happened, if my mule threw a fit or whatever, and I got dumped on the ground, I could watch my satellite messenger telling, that would allow somebody to tell somebody to come help me run off with my mule. But if I got it in my pocket, at least, I never even thought of that. Of course, I try not to think of anything happening like that anyway, but.
You don't until you look back. Like when I went to Globe and I got into that real dirty mess, man, anything could have happened. I was on really, really steep stuff. That mule could have stepped on my Achilles tendon, my calf, like broke my ankle, and luckily I had service there because I lost my phone and I had my work phone with me, and my daughter sent me the location of my phone.
Oh, wow.
So I just lucky I was in a spot but there, 9 times out of 10, I don't have service where I'm hunting,
I got a story to tell Kenny Bolt. He said, do y'all's horses and mules pay bears any attention? I rode within feet of them, and the bear didn't seem to pay attention to them or vice versa. I just got back. I packed in. I went up to the northern end of the Gila Wilderness, and I packed in from the northern end. I was trying to find some cooler country, and I had 5 dogs with me, but these are those old female dogs. They won't run a bear. And I was riding down the creek bottom, and I jumped 2 bears. I mean, within they were within 20 feet of us, and the big old black bear, he just the chocolate bear ran off, and the black bear, he ran 100 yards up the side of the mountain, just stopped, turned around, and looked at us, stood there for the longest time. I got some really good video and some pictures of him, but he just sat there and looked at us. He didn't really, he wasn't scared by no means. And I got off my mule and everything, and Agnes wasn't scared of him. Agnes just kept looking at him, and I got off and I videoed and messed around, and but then after that, there's these big old black boulder rocks all the way down that creek bottom. Every time we come around a corner, she'd see one of those black rocks, and she'd go like that, and just like she was going to try to booger from them. She never did booger, but she's really too lazy to booger. But she'd just arch her neck like that and look in and walk way around those rocks. But anybody else have any mule or bear stories?
What about the video that you put up this week, Brett? You had that mule on it that would it was smelling where the cat had scratched, where the mountain lion had scratched.
Oh, Jet Johnson? Yeah, I got that old video. Yeah, the lion had scratched there, and he smelled it and would roll his nose up over his lip up over his nose. I guess it stunk to him. That was on a different video. The one this last video I put up, that was from an old pack trip we took across the wilderness. And
that was from an old video. I went back and watched one of the first ones, I guess you put.
Yeah, that's old Jet Johnson. He's me and him put lots of miles on. He was a good mule. He's old. He's still alive out there, but he's on retirement.
Did he pay attention to a cat?
He would. I tell you what, those mules will do, and I bet George will attest to this. When you ride into one of those old dark, heavy canyons, and there's a bear in there, those mules know it's in there. I mean, Jet would start snorting and smelling, and you think, oh yeah, there's a bear in here somewhere.
To be honest, don't they? I feel like when I get in a canyon, there's been a lion, and you can almost smell the pee and
that heavy smell.
Yeah, I think they act a lot more cautious. Really, really, ears are pointed every which direction, trying to listen.
Yeah, Jet would. I mean, Jet always paid attention to everything. Of course, Jet always
Mine will do that on a flock of turkeys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the only good story I have on a mule is me and my daughter went out. It wasn't season. We were just going to go ride this trail, figure out where it came out before season. And this old mountain bike guy's coming up this trail, had his head down and had it in super high gear trying to get up the hill. And we just kind of rode off the side of the hill, and we were standing 5 foot off the hill. And that old boy got up there right next to my horse. He hadn't been a foot from the head. And that horse was just kind of like, and that guy almost fell off his bike because he absolutely did not see us there. So when you question how people get attacked by bears or lions, it's because they don't pay attention right there. He was all the way. I mean, my horse could have reached out and bit him, but he looked over and seen us just standing there. Yeah. Felt kind of bad. The guy almost fell off his bike, but it was kind of funny.
George, that mule would smell the turkey?
Yeah, go ahead. What is it, John?
Could that mule smell the turkeys? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm assuming smell. But yeah, a lot of times if you get into fresh turkey sign, like if it's winter and you can tell in the snow, and then a lot of times I can tell they smell something, and then you'll go another 200 yards and jump a flock of turkeys, or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely a smell to it for sure.
I'll be up to bar that mule this spring.
Go turkey hunting. Yeah.
And then bears.
John's going to find a turkey this year.
Yeah,
no, I couldn't find a turkey.
I've rode mine in on many a bear tree, and then I've had my white mule, my horse. They've been in on bayed bears before, and it don't seem to affect them. And I never really did anything other than just ride them a lot. And they've been, squirrel hunting off of and all that. But I don't know. Basically what I'm saying is I never did anything particular to break them for the scent of bear, but they just took it. They don't mind it.
There you go. Nicholas is a question for you. Is there a good
Is
way
there
to
a good
boost
way to
signals?
boost signals? So you can't actually boost the signals of the, either the collar or the handheld without, soldering in a more powerful amplifier, which I'm sure someone could figure out how to do that, but I would not recommend trying it.
Kill your bat.
In terms of aftermarket antennas, are we talking about the antenna on the handheld, or are using a truck antenna? Because using a truck antenna, that'll definitely help you because you can get it up higher, and it's just a bigger envelope to receive those signals. What I find with truck antennas and trying to get a better signal from your vehicle is you'll have better luck if you turn your truck off, because all the electrical systems in your vehicle and any gadgets you have charging in your truck, all that is just adding noise. So your antenna, your alpha is going to have a harder time receiving those faint signals from your collar through all that noise. Like I had a little USB cigarette lighter adapter that I charge, my alpha, my cell phone with, and it was just really poorly made, or it might have had a short in it or something, but it put out so much electronic noise that it would pretty much wipe out my radio signal and my dog tracking signal. So taking out, getting rid of that interference, that's a really good way to, boost your ability to receive the tracking collar. But in terms of different antennas, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people would probably disagree, but I don't feel like there's much difference in using just a longer whip on your handheld. It might help, but you want to make sure it's cut exactly for the frequencies that the tracking collars run on. Because if you have, so a lot of if you go on Amazon and buy just a handheld VHF antenna, basically a lot of those are made for a really wide range of frequencies, and all that's going to do is just make it so you're receiving more noise. Whereas the little rubber ducky antenna on the alpha, those are, Garmin makes those so that they're exactly for that frequency range that your collars are sending those signals out on. So they do a better job of receiving just those signals and ignoring everything else. So I don't know. I'd say it's probably kind of hit or miss. The other thing that I don't like about aftermarket antennas is that you want the stock ones, they pretty much have a really good seal where they connect, so you're not going to get as much water and dirt inside. Whereas a lot of the aftermarket ones, they're not made for that specific hole size or whatever. So you can get water and crap in there, and that's going to just ruin it. So
see, you guys need to go over to his Hound on the Run YouTube channel, and you can learn all this kind of stuff.
Well, we
I don't
talked
have any
about
videos
radios.
about what's that?
We talked about radios before, and I think a lot of people understand it. So I think the reason you get better, so the truck antennas, they sit on top of the truck, and if you put them in the middle of your cab, antennas, they receive from the bottom and send from the top, if I'm not mistaken. So when you put them on your truck, you have like a plate that catches a little bit. That's why the truck antennas work a lot better, because
Okay,
I don't
Chris,
think it's
Chris, you're getting over your head here.
No, you're not.
I wrote it down on my hands. So I'm just reading it off my hand.
You just
I think
Googled
that's
it.
why the truck antennas work really good. But I've had luck with those antennas where you hold that have the cable. Here's my hat. So I have a 102-inch whip on my truck, and I've touched my Garmin to that whip, when I'm in a bad area, and I've picked up dogs.
Oh, really?
I
Nice.
could be coincidence, but it's a lot of coincidence. Me and my son does it too. So every time we
No,
get,
you're probably right. Just touching the antenna to it.
because it's
Just like
102 inches, it's higher.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
collecting still.
yeah. It's just like putting a bigger net out there, right? Kinda.
Yep.
There you
That's
go.
all it is. Hack of the
Buddy
night. Hack of the
Woodbury,
night.
You got the
Buddy
you
Woodbury
got
did
the
a really good. I think it was a podcast on DU Supply, and
Mhm.
he tested a lot of them, and it was pretty interesting. I enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah, that was a good
Different
one.
antennas.
Where he left the antennas hook on his truck, hooked up to 2 different alphas,
oh yeah.
and then did
Yeah.
like a 9-mile loop or something. Yeah, that was pretty good. I saw
I think it's
someone
actually on YouTube, maybe.
BB in the comments said, but in dynamic mode, the interference is supposed to be way less between other callers. So you're talking about on the Alpha 300 and the TT25s. Well, I think the TT15Xs do the dynamic. Wait, no, they don't. The new 25s coming out, they do the dynamic mode, and you're absolutely right about that, about them being less susceptible to interference, because the dynamic mode, it's only sending out a tracking point when it really needs to, versus just consistently every 5 seconds or whatever you have it set. So yeah, it's a new thing. So we'll see how good it works. But and I guess while I have the floor, Clayton Keys asks, how are the blue tick puppies? And I will say they're doing very good. So they just turned a year old a couple weeks ago. And yeah, this last season I got them on, I think, 5 bobcat trees. So that was really good. I got them on a bunch of snow tracks. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about this next season with them. Thanks for asking.
I don't know why you don't do a lot of little hack tips or shorts with Garmin there, Nicholas. Just little
Yeah.
tips.
Yeah. No, I have a list of videos like that, like more on the tech side of things that I want to make. Just because, so back in January, I actually got my ham radio license just for fun, and there's so much of that knowledge I learned from studying for it. It crosses over into radio tracking. I mean, it's all kind of the same stuff, and man, it's a deep rabbit hole. And like I've been doing all this. I got a big antenna set up at my house, hooked up to my computer, so I can receive radio signals from all over the world. It's pretty crazy. But how I found out about the dog trackers being able to track those just with a radio signal is I just turned one of my collars on, and then I'm looking on the spectrum scope on my computer, and I start seeing this blip. I'm like, what is that? And then sure enough, it was coming from my tracking collar. So but yeah, more videos like that will be coming on Hound on the Run, that's for sure.
Cool. There you go. Do you guys prefer a gritty dog or a dog that'll just bay, barking? Just be there barking.
And, when you're bear hunting, a gritty dog's kind of good, but when you usually do got a gritty dog, he's kind of gritty everywhere in the box. I think it's tough to have a real good gritty dog that ain't always gritty. Kind of like a redhead. They're always mean. We're just lucky he had that echo cardiogram, so we know he has a heart now.
I told that lady when she was doing it, I said, call my wife in here. She said, why? I said, I want her to see that so she knows I do have a heart.
For me, the definition of a gritty dog plays a big part.
Yeah.
I don't like a dog that's going to get tore up every time. I don't want him to get tore up, but at the same time, I want him to get in there and actually put pressure on the bear without getting tore up. So
gritty,
I don't know
smart.
If that defines
smart
a
about
gritty
it.
dog.
Gritty, but smart about it.
'Cause I have a little male dog, and like I say, he will put a lot of bear up a tree, but it's he has to go to the vet too much. It's not
No.
worth it. And usually, typically, I found out here in Virginia, if it's a bear that has to be that much pressure, a lot of times they're not going to come up a tree. They're not going to climb a tree anyway.
They're just
So
going to sit back.
yeah, and then a lot of times the other part is if you have too gritty of a dog, and here, like I say, I'm just relating to my experience here in Virginia. If you got too gritty of a dog, and if the bear, if he waits too long to climb a tree, they'll jerk him back off the tree, which creates problems. He'll be trying to climb the tree,
I just
and
think
get jerked back off.
I just think gritty. I just think too. I think you have to have an aggressive dog. Just when it hits the ground, if you do get a bear and it hits the ground, he ain't standing over it trying to fight everybody for it. I don't like that.
Claiming game. I had a dog that claimed game like that. Old Bo, he would claim game. When he hit the ground, it was his.
I had a dog that did that for a little while. He didn't do it too much after a while.
He didn't have the opportunity.
Well, I hated that dog. I think everybody's had a dog, and he was gritty, but he also knew better than be gritty. But every once in a while, I had another dog that I couldn't hunt with them because they just didn't like each other. They were litter mates, just didn't like each other. I just don't like it. He was great. He's dumb as a box of rocks, but he just hunted. He had heart, and everybody was like, "I can't believe you haven't killed that dog yet." And there's been times that I've been that close to it, and I said, lucky he hunts. Lucky he hunts. And I got him tattooed on me now. He's passed now. He was one of my oldest dogs, and now everybody's like, "I can't believe you tattooed that dog on you." I said, "Oh, that dog made me."
What'd you do? Put tattoo it on your butt? What'd you do?
No, I got it like a portrait on me.
So you could sit on him all the time?
Yeah, so I could punch him in the face. I hated that dog, but oh man, he was just. It just reminded me of Mice and Men, Lenny. He just didn't know better.
Nice.
The dog grab a bear and go 12 feet in the air before he let go.
Who has blue tick puppies?
I do. Oh yeah, I think he's asking about mine.
Yeah, you answered that while you're gone.
Oh,
yeah, you're gone. They're doing good. And someone asked about what bloodlines. So the blue tick comes from Plum, who is Cameron and Hammer. So I'm told. But they're actually half blue tick, quarter Walker, and a quarter black and tan.
We call them mutts.
They're mutts. Yep.
That's what I call my dog.
Then you can raise mules.
If I could find me a female mule that I could breed.
I read up on that, and they're every once in a while.
Here you go again, Chris.
That 64 chromosome, whatever, and they are able to breed.
I've heard of a couple being born that
every once in a while they have that extra what is it? Horses have 64, mules have 63. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, call Nicholas's 971 number and tell him about it.
That's way over my head. I don't even know what a chromosome is.
Oh, if you could breed a good mule from a mule, it'd just be so great.
Anecdote of a scientist over here.
Oh, it's a good thing we don't drink.
Hey, take a shot for every comment read.
Yeah,
maybe?
Yeah, that would work.
I bet you it would get a lot of views.
Yeah, it probably would. Probably not the kind of views we want.
And it'd
So,
probably be demonetized.
yeah, I'm sure it would. So where are we at? What's your last? What's the last video you put out, Chris?
I'm putting. What did I put out? Oh, just a prepared one.
Yeah.
Keeping food for your dog. And I actually got a video probably coming out. I'll say Wednesday. And that's I had my cousin brought me a big bag of bear fat, and he just threw it in my freezer. And my old lady been on me. Your stupid fat's in my way. And I'm like, well, I can't help it. I'll exercise. She goes, no, in the freezer, you know. So I had to pull it out.
I was gonna say I've had that same comment, but
and so I made a video on how to render some fat. And
oh, cool.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that fat. I got 2 big pickle jars full of it, so like gallon over a gallon. So I'll take my next video and I'll probably make some soap, and I'm gonna give away some soap during that after I make that video.
You sent me some soap one time. It was good.
I did. Oh, I did.
Yep.
I sent you
Yeah.
some. To
Yeah, you sent us some too. It was great. And my wife made him an advertisement that he can use for his soap.
Hey man, I wasn't gonna bring this up because Nicholas asked me for a selfie. And I said,
Yeah.
I only have one selfie on my phone. I don't know if I could send. I said I'll send it to you, but I don't think we'll be friends after. And then his wife took it and maybe his wife.
I just sent it in our group. I just sent it in our group text.
It's a bad picture.
I gotta see it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Did you send it on the text?
I don't know if.
Oh, hold on. We got to share this.
Okay, so for the listeners, I don't know, like a couple years ago, like during COVID, you know, there was this thing where everyone was texting each other's like a picture of like a big black dude, fully nude, got a big old wiener hanging out. So I asked Chris to send me a selfie to make the thumbnail for the podcast episode he did with me, and so he sends me that a picture of that guy, and so then my wife got a hold of that picture and turned it into an advertisement for Chris's soap.
Yep.
Hold on. Here we go, guys.
Screen share now. Not so great.
Time for this.
How's that? Do you guys see that? Whoop! Dad,
No,
damn
you
it! How
can't
come it
see
gets
it.
so big?
I
I
don't
don't know. You did
That's what she
time. You
said,
fixed
though.
it out.
There's another way I can do this. I can get out of this.
Oh, hey, there's your phone numbers. Someone copy those phone numbers down.
Oh,
Start spamming these guys.
video file. Oh, I know there's a way to do it.
I don't know how to use this program, so you're on your own.
And I keep. Oh, okay. Here we go. I think I can do this here.
I tell people
This
I'm
might
funny.
actually
and
get the video banned.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I sent it to him, and I said I always tell people, hey, I'm funny. I'm funny. You know, or they'll try to be funny. And I'm like, I'll always be funnier. But I think his wife is pretty funny now. I noticed Jonathan hadn't said a word after that.
And it took her like 5 minutes to make that.
I'm just soaking it all up. I'm just soaking it all up.
Yeah, you're gonna say a real prayer at church this Sunday for all of this.
I don't think I'm gonna wait till Sunday. Here in a few minutes. When
I told George I would send it, but I don't know if I send it to Jonathan. He's kind of religious. I don't know if this one would offend him too bad on it.
Well, that picture, you don't know. I work in a factory, and there's none of those guys. There's none of those guys that like really,
Yeah.
you know, they don't care. And my brother-in-law is my lead man, and he definitely don't care. He was in the Navy and in the Army, so he don't really care what he says or what he does. So
Well,
that
we
picture is mild compared to the stuff I see.
uh, so when it was me and an electrician, and we worked in a mill, and people wouldn't stay in the same room because we'd snap a picture of them and then we'd Photoshop it. Like that photo, the one I did, I someone sent that picture in a link, so they send that picture around, and it says, "Hey, check out this car on Facebook," and you click it.
Right.
So I put my face on it, and I sent it to Nicholas, and then his wife did wonders with it. But so people wouldn't sit in the same room with us long, because if they seen us with our phones out, they'd run out, because we take pictures and Photoshop everybody on Snapchat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Brett still
My nephew
on that.
my nephew sent that picture to my wife.
Oh man,
So, so you know,
I'm
it's
small
very
baby now.
inappropriate.
it's not me. It's not me. It's the people around me, and I didn't put them here. God put them here, and I don't understand why sometimes, because I try to deal with them, but sometimes there's just no dealing.
Yeah. Well, that's the censored version. That's the
Oh,
censored
shoot.
version.
Thought I had it.
You have everybody in suspense here.
I'm gonna get it.
You got it?
And we're
Because I
getting-
can share my screen. I can probably do it.
Oh,
There we go.
so
Here,
if you guys
this
want some, just give me a call.
The
This
part
is
that
what
was
we'll do.
cracking her up is the
We'll just move it
now
right
in
here.
lavender. It is legitimately nice soap though, so thank you for sending it.
It is.
That's right. Now
Now,
I'm going to print that picture out, and I'm going to put it on mine. Where'd Brett leave us? Oh, who left
No.
us?
no. Oh, we lost.
Yeah, scared him off.
We lost John.
I told you John was going to leave.
That was that picture.
Oh, man.
Now in lavender.
That's why I asked you if you made soap, George. I actually have 2 bars in my trailer I was going to send you. So,
Dude, I'd love to try it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
just
have
send me your
to.
ad.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, guys. Whoop. I heard a beep somewhere.
I think we scared nothing off.
Maybe that
Well, we
picture.
got to talk about Dale Lee. I guess we got a lot of it out.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
did.
Who
I'll put that other. I'll put Dale Lee number 2 up.
Yeah.
It'll either go up this Thursday or Friday. I hope everybody watches it, and then I'm going to try to sprinkle in some more of those. Like I have a Warriors of El Gato where they interviewed Wiley Carroll, and it's kind of hard to listen to because it was after he was old and he had already had the throat cancer or something, and so his voice is real hard. But it'd be something to try to listen to, and I have some more of those. I'll go through them and see what I can share, and then some of the guys that I've interviewed too. I need to put up Hootie Shaw and some of those others. We still got guys asking questions here.
Hey, I was
thank
close.
you.
Horses have 64 chromosomes. Donkeys have 62, and mules have 63. Donkeys have 64. Horses have 66. Mules and guineas have 65. So they are sterile. They say 1 in 100 or in a million will breed, but I've never heard of one in my 64 years.
Oh, Uncle Papa, look at that. Someone tell a good bear fight story before we leave.
I just got a private message that said, "What kind of show y'all running?"
Sorry, we got a little off the rails there for a minute. My phone died, guys, so I'm going ahead and hit the hay. 3:30 a.m. We'll be here quickly. Yep, it will. John, thanks for coming by. And then we can also have, if you guys know of anybody who wants to join us, we can do that. I mean, I'm going to have Cody King come on, and then Cody and Nicholas can talk bobcat hunting. And
there we go.
And then whoever else, if you guys can think of someone you want to invite that would be fun to, just join in with us. I like it, and I like hearing everybody's opinion about things and their stories and stuff. But we can, and then on my other channel, I didn't have time today because I was real busy. Like I said, I shook hands on selling my business today. And then I also had that echocardiogram, and there was a lot of things going on in between. I didn't have time. I should have made a notification saying this was going to be coming on, and then I could have shared that notification on my community page, on my other channel, and then I think even next time I might even go on and do just a little live, or make a little video on my other channel saying that we're going to be doing this over here. And then that way we can all, and this is something we can all do together. And I think it's fun. I enjoy it.
So Brett
Definitely.
don't have a
thanks
job.
for hosting us.
You bet.
Brett don't have a job. The doctor said he could do whatever he needs to do. So Brett has no excuse.
I am a professional podcaster and YouTuber now, and part-time lion hunter.
There you go.
So, yeah, no, I got time now. I'd like to do this. I'd like to see who we could get on. It's fun, and I like I don't like it being too structured. I guess I like it kind of being free flowing and everybody just kind of speaking their mind. Because after a while, I think everybody forgets that we're live for millions of people on the internet.
That's right.
Or 27.
After that picture circulates, they'll all be flocking next week.
Oh, the chicks will be just beating our doors down.
Oh, maybe I'll just wear the same outfit next Monday.
So next Monday, you guys, you'll be here?
Should be.
Should be.
So.
And so everybody go watch. Well, you do your own thing too. Nicholas, you've got your own podcast going on and everything. And
yep.
I'm supposed to go over there. I kind of got jealous because Chris went over there and I didn't get to go over there.
You're too busy.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have you on next.
Got my feelings hurt a little bit.
Oh, it's going to be all right. I'm going to have you on. I just had the dog box topic was just very timely, so we had to talk about that first.
No, that's good. No, I'm just kidding. It was good.
Send him a selfie.
I will.
Yeah, I'm going to need a selfie from you too, so.
Cool. And George, your last video was that bear coming out of the tree? Was that it, right?
I think so. I can't even remember now.
It is.
I got another somewhat of a normal bear. Well, I say normal. Scruffy treed one in my next video.
Oh, cool.
And then actually I treed two bear in a day.
Cool.
So
there you go.
I don't know if I can stay awake to finish it tonight or if I'll just have to go into work late tomorrow and try to finish it in the morning. I'm not sure what'll happen with that, but we'll see.
Do you have some regular videos coming out, Nicholas?
Are you done cat hunting?
Yeah.
Your season?
Yeah, there's no hunting right now, really. So sucks. But it's been pretty hot and dry here, and like I could go out, but like we have all these grass seeds everywhere and ticks everywhere, and I don't know, a million excuses, but yeah, it is what it is. I have a couple videos in the works. Yeah, focusing on the podcast is my main thing right now. But yeah, I'm still trying to do like shorter 7 to 10 minute videos every week. So yeah, I'm going to work on a little series of videos about that radio stuff.
Oh,
like
there you
tracking a caller.
That'd be real good.
If, worst case scenario, you lose your handheld. How do you find your dog? That's kind of
that'll be good. That'll be real good.
I think it'll be super practical, and it could save, could turn a really bad day into a little less little less of a bad day, I guess. So
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking for you.
Bring home the bread. We need milk.
That's it.
If you ever post a picture like that again, you'll never be on that podcast.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, that was my wife calling in, and I know she can't see anything because there's no phone service there.
Oh, well,
We got a house phone hooked up, and that's the extent of our technology at the house.
Starlink.
Yep.
Call
Wow.
old Elon Musk and get that Starlink hooked up.
no, he's in the one dark spot
Yeah.
where you can't get Starlink
The
even.
one place in the world.
Yeah. George
Basically.
found
That's
it.
funny.
All
right.
right.
You get
fellas.
really good tracking reception out there with, no electronics or no cell signal even.
Yeah, no interference, huh?
Mm-hmm.
There you
It's
go.
pretty good. Our trains are crazy though, but
Oh,
Well, cool. Guys, next Monday night, does that sound good?
yeah, sounds good.
yes,
Sounds
sir.
good.
Sounds good.
We'll be here. Watch out for the daily tape. And then on my other channel, I'll have a new packing video coming in on Sunday, a Sunday. So I went up into the northern country and packed into the headwaters of the Gila River. So,
Nice.
Very cool.
and I enjoyed it. I wish I was back there.
Mm.
It was 55
nice.
degrees when I got up that morning. And today, and it got up to about 90. And today, right here, it was 110 degrees.
Oh my
It was 90 degrees this morning at 5 in the morning.
Jeez, that's
And
terrible.
it's
Yeah.
what is it right now? 104 right now. At almost
Man.
7 at night. So
All right. And any of you guys watching, if you guys want to ever join us or you have people that you think that we should try to get on here, let us know. Send us messages, email, Facebook, however. So, Instagram. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot. I enjoyed it.
thank you. Till next Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
Until
Thanks,
next
everybody.
Monday. We'll see
Yep.
you. Thank you.
See you
Talk
later.
to y'all later.